Well, the nationwide 21-day lockdown will to curb the spread of the coronavirus outbreak kicks in on Thursday at midnight. Now, during the lockdown, several businesses will be closed and non-essential workers will be staying at home. Now, we're joined by Business Unity South Africa's vice-chairperson to hear what role the business sector will be playing during this difficult time. And to talk to us now is Martin Kingston from Business Unity South Africa, and he joins us via Skype. Mr. Kingston, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, I want to start off with the complaints of overcharging or inflating prices against 11 companies who are now being investigated. What's your message to some of those businesses who are doing this at this time?
Well, we've made it clear that we condemn those actions unreservedly. It's completely unacceptable. Any form of collusion or price gouging and action needs to be taken immediately with severe consequences. The Minister of Trade and Industry made it clear yesterday we fully endorse this position.
The business community, how are you reacting to the 21-day lockdown that's been announced by the President? And more importantly, what are you doing to help?
Well, this is a national effort where we're living in unprecedented times. It's uncharted territory. We mobilized an integrated business response immediately. We now have about 200 people working on a dedicated basis under the auspices of the Booster and BBC banner to ensure that we can interface not only with business but actually with the President and his executive. We focused on three areas in particular: healthcare, labour markets and economic interventions. They're meeting daily, and we're aligned with the position of government to ensure that not only our members can address these issues in the immediate short term, but also we can provide interventions and support to government, recognising that this isn't just an immediate lockdown challenge that we're dealing with come the end of this week, but we're going to find successive waves as the economy gets further destabilised by the virus and the impact upon not only the working environment, but the economy domestically and, of course, the backdrop of what is happening globally.
Mr. Kingston, you represent organised big business. There does seem to be some outcry that there is this relief fund that is targeted at small businesses. The complaint simply is that there does seem to be a BEE criteria that is being applied for anyone to qualify for that relief fund. Are you aware of such?
Yes, indeed. I should first of all correct you. We don't just represent big business. We represent all business. The South African Chamber of Commerce and Industries is a member. Many other small and medium-sized enterprises are part of our membership, and indeed that of the BBC. We've co-opted all businesses. I think the Minister of Small Business clarified the position yesterday. This relief is not only available for black businesses, but for all small and medium-sized enterprises, provided that they qualify in terms of their South African identity, the number of employees that in fact they have on their register. And we wouldn't support any other basis. We don't think there can be any form of discrimination, positive or negative, at this particular moment in time. Everybody must be equally available to secure the requisite support.
But should the BEE policy still apply at a time of crisis, some say?
No, I think we need to put all of such policies to one side. We need to objectively assess on an urgent and flexible basis what is in the best interest of the country and indeed of those businesses and people who are the most vulnerable. If indeed some of those are BEE businesses, of course they must be protected, but no more or less than any other business.
The lockdown, Mr. Kingston, it will come and go. What then will be of special focus will be the economic fallout, how we recover from then on. What will be South Africa's immediate vulnerabilities in your view as organised business?
Well, we've identified a number of critical and essential goods and services that need to continue operating during the lockdown. For example, essential infrastructure, be that the telecommunications sector, be that energy or indeed water, provision of water, but a number of other services. I think the government will be producing a comprehensive list. Today we've been interfacing on a continuous basis with them But we need to realize that the lockdown, or the first phase of the lockdown, these 21 days, is not going to be the end of the damage being caused by the virus. We have to assume that there's going to be a sustained negative impact for several months, if not longer than that. Many people are anticipating not only a recession but a depression this year and indeed into the future. We're going to have to gird our loins and recognize that this is going to be a long road to recovery. South Africa was already confronted with very significant economic challenges, as we all know. That is going to have been exacerbated by the current circumstances, and we need to reset our expectations and indeed our approach accordingly.
Yeah, Mr. Kingston, just very briefly for me, you speak about a recession. When we do come out of this crisis or the pandemic of the COVID-19, will there be a contraction in the GDP? And importantly, how deep do you think that contraction will be?
Well, we're all anticipating a very substantial contraction in GDP. We were already in a recession. I don't think anybody can quantify how deep it's going to be. We're experiencing extremely volatile markets, but we're going to have to agree as a country on what is an appropriate stimulus package to be able to recover from that over time. But it will be over an extended period of time now.
All right, Martin Kingston is with Business Unity South Africa. Thank you very much for your time.